Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
You know, I love those opening videos, Mr. Mendoza. We have to get something that shows Coconut Grove and some of the other markets, like maybe Coral Gables, too. I want to welcome everybody to today's show. We've got one of my favorite guests, one of our regulars, Olivia Ramos, is on. She's the founder of Deepblocks, and she's our artificial intelligence expert. And boy, do I need artificial intelligence. I certainly don't have enough of my own anymore. So we'll be talking about topics about real estate. I really never know what we're going to talk about because she always surprises me. She's my favorite thought leader on the real estate space. Hey, Regan, Mr. Mendoza, let's bring on Olivia here. Hey, Olivia, how are you?
Hi, Jen. I'm very happy to be here. How are you?
All right. So what do you got for me this week? We're going to take a quick look at it, and then we'll go right to Warren Henry.
Perfect. So we have a podcast discussing VR technology, and we slightly touched on the metaverse. And the way we talked about it was really on the periphery, discussing, are we in a simulation now? And it kind of got a little wonky. So today I want to get deep into what the metaverse is and how it can affect real estate in a fundamental way.
Oh, wow. I'm excited about that. So we'll be right back after we talk to our friends from Warren Henry. We'll talk with Olivia Ramos about the metaverse. And hey, Olivia, just as a heads up, I've seen that clothing now that they wear. I'm very afraid of playing a video game and getting a gunshot while wearing that stuff or getting stabbed. We'll be right back with Olivia Ramos and the metaverse. Hey, everybody, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out my friends at Warren Henry. We just got a new QX60 from them. It's so tremendous. I'm still trying to figure out how to work all the little things, but it's great. I'm so excited. It's got Apple Play and all this other great stuff. Well, if you need a Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, or Jaguar, they sell them at Biscayne and 151st. If you'd like an Audi, they sell them in Gainesville. Down in Key West, they sell all kinds of great cars. What do all those cars have in common? Like Jeeps and stuff like that down in the Keys. They all come with the Warren Henry Advantage, besides being great cars. What's the Warren Henry Advantage? It's a long list of services that you get, not the least of which is the great homey feeling that you get whenever you go in there. But, you could lose your keys. Lots of people lose their keys. Those automatic keys, they're like $100 to throw. Me, I like to park my car, parallel by the curb real close because I don't like to get hit when I get out of my car. Well, if you scrape your rims up on the sidewalk there, they'll make sure that you get them polished up, and they'll always make sure you get the best price, and they'll make sure you like your car. They give you 72 hours, 3 days to make sure you like your car. You will. So join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, more and more of my friends. I have a friend going there actually today to try to get a car. They're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price. Always the best service. Always Warren Henry.
Can AI supercharge your real estate analysts? With Deepblocks, you can now canvas entire cities in minutes. Search by total buildable, potential units, and uses allowed. Now live in 100 cities. Book a private demo and supercharge your real estate analysts. Deepblocks.com/demo.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jim Fried, and I do a lot of real estate deals with big real estate families here in South Florida, and actually all across the state and the Southeast. Reach out to me if you or your family would like some assistance on your real estate deal. I bring capital, I bring expertise, I bring contacts, I bring what it takes. And remember, when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Fried on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Fried or at Fried on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Fried1. Now, back to your host, Jim Fried.
Well, we're here with my favorite futurist and my artificial intelligence expert, Olivia Ramos. She's the founder of Deepblocks. Olivia worked for DARPA. She knows what's going on. Olivia is one of the Sharpies out there. Hey, Olivia, how's it going?
Hi, Jim. Thank you again for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So you said we're talking about the metaverse. The last time we talked about it, oh gosh, it was a couple of months ago. I'm still talking about that with all my friends because it was so indicative of what we need to do to be looking at the future. And I'm very excited to hear what you have in mind for today.
Yeah, so first I want to express why the metaverse is important to Deepblocks and to our personal research. And at a very large scale, every time there's a platform shift, there are huge opportunities to interface with the real world. And the metaverse, we believe, and a lot of people believe, it's the next platform shift. And what do I mean? So we have before the World Wide Web, the internet was a huge platform shift from newspapers and television. That was a lot of opportunities came in there. Some of the largest companies in the world took advantage of that. The phone and the interface with the phone is another huge platform that also shifted and was taken advantage of. And before that, you can say the printing press, the invention of paper. Anytime there's something where we communicate differently, there's a huge opportunity. So it would be a mistake, I think, to think of the metaverse as a form of escape, and it can be, or as a video game, and it can be, but it really is at a larger scale an interface with the.
It's a business opportunity. Let's call it what it really is. At the end of the year, Walmart registered all kinds of different locations and different things that they're going to do. They trademarked stuff like Walmart names to buy different things, and I've already seen real estate being sold on the metaverse. Retail locations. Clothes. Okay, Walmart is about all that. So I'm watching. It's happening. It's happening now. I don't know what to do yet, except to watch.
Okay, so let's discuss a little bit, just to give a little bit of foundation on what the metaverse is. And it's not the internet, right? The internet is a series of servers that are connected to one another, and they are connected to your individual devices. Your individual devices are not connected to one another. You really go through a centralized server first. Let's say in social media or on a website.
It's
The
like
metaverse.
a hub and spoke system.
Say how so? Let me know. I'm not sure what you mean.
It's all going through the same place, and it's out there, and it all comes together in one place, like the NAP. Correct?
The NAP.
Yeah, the thing in downtown Miami, which is where all the pipe from the Latin America and everything else goes. That's where all the pipe comes in, downtown Miami.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good to know. Yes, exactly. So what is needed for the metaverse is for everything to happen in real time, all at once. So it's less of a continuous feed and more of a persistent feed. So that, and this a lot of this vocabulary is coming from Matthew Ball, which writes a lot about the metaverse. So these are some part of our research. But the idea is that everything needs to happen at the same time, and that infrastructure is not yet in place. So, but it's important to understand that there will be a big difference between the internet and the metaverse.
So what kind of infrastructure do we need?
That's a great question. I'll give you an example of, let's say sometimes you hear in the game Fortnite, there were 10 million players playing at once. What's happening there is there are a bunch of different smaller servers that can hold about 100 people at once. And there's 100 people interacting in one kind of experience. And there are many experiences, and combined, is 10 million people, but it's not really 10 million people in the same experience at the same time. You can kind of see it like video conferencing it's kind of the first.
I totally get it. It's the difference between a free-flowing open system, which could be everybody, versus 100 people doing the same thing but separately together.
Yes. So video conferencing is one potential way to know what the metaverse can be like, right? Because we can have up to a certain amount of people speaking all at once, which means I am getting real-time understanding of what everybody's doing at once, except it's really difficult to understand who's speaking because we have such a two-dimensional interface. So
yeah, but we could all be interacting as avatars within the context of a virtually created place.
Yes, and you brought in a really key word to the metaverse, which is your avatar, your personal identity. Now, and that's another thing that hasn't happened yet, and it does not happen in the internet, which is interoperability. All the applications that we have available today they work in silos in most cases. Some games like Epic Games is trying to expand their IP, give their IP away so that many people can plug in and you can go from one game to another with the same identity, right? But right now you have a different identity in Twitter than you do for Facebook, than you do for Snapchat, that you do for TikTok, because they're all different applications within the internet.
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the things that frustrates me. That's one of the things that frustrates me is I can't be the same person everywhere. And, you know, the other thing that I'm really, you know, already, sorry if I'm going into the next segment. But am I naked on those platforms till I buy clothing?
I'm sure that your avatar comes with some normal clothing. It's a good question, though. There will be stores to dress your avatar. That's already a huge marketplace. And
that's what Walmart's doing. Yeah. I said that's what Walmart's doing. They registered that.
Right. Okay. Yes. So
I am not buying a $5,000 Hermes purse that I can't carry.
You might, if that's the kind of look you want in the metaverse. So that's definitely possible. But the key here is that one avatar will be able to go to any game, any experience, any place, and that identity will transfer over. That's necessary for the metaverse. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that's a real human experience shift. I mean, let's make an example. This morning I ordered something, I spoke to a person, the person's working from home. Okay. That person never has to go anywhere ever again with the metaverse. They can have a full life experience and never leave home. And that's a little bit difficult for me to come to grips with yet. But there are already people that are educated for that. They never leave their home. They homeschool on the internet. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, the current situation where a lot of people are afraid to leave their homes is helping you imagine how you could do everything from home, and that could be a reality, but I don't think it's as dystopic as we're imagining, where now the world outside gets deteriorated because nobody cares. I think I think it could be the opposite. In fact, physical experiences now have a competition. You know, they need to be better. There needs to be better service, better experiences in the physical world, so that people can coexist in both. And again, I want to go back a minute. Okay.
Hold on, because let's take a break. Let me sell some cars. I guess I got to buy a car with the virtual car. I'm going to ask Larry about that.
Yeah, they're making virtual cars ready for the metaverse.
That's going to be a good one. I'm going to ask him while we're on break. Okay, this is tremendous. Boy, thank you for, I usually go Regan Mendoza, but this is Olivia Ramos expanding my brain. Back after this. Oh, there we was. I was texting Larry while we were talking about what's going on with the metaverse and cars. Hopefully, I'll have an answer during our show here. And the other thing I want to do is I want to remind you that that's the kind of relationship that I have with the folks at Warren Henry. We really are family. We love them. Hi, Courtney. How the kids? So remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Really, we do love them. They love us. My mom, 83-year-old mom, goes there, and Maytel Stark treats her like gold. My mom loves going there. It's a great social experience for her too. So when you're looking to buy that new car, get every advantage you can. Check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, they've got everything, including those really cool Jeep cars. See how much I'm talking about them? You know I want to get one. What do they all have in common? They're all great cars. They all come with the Warren Henry Advantage. That means you get complimentary, key replacement if you lose your cars. They guarantee you get the best price. They'll buy your car even if you don't buy a car from them. And of course, you get 72 hours to exchange your car if you don't like your car. Nobody exchanges their cars because their cars are tremendous. I just got my wife a brand new QX60. It's tremendous. So join me, my beautiful wife, my mom, lots and lots of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service. Boom! Always Warren Henry.
Can AI supercharge your real estate analysts? With Deepblocks, you can now canvas entire cities in minutes. Search by total buildable, potential units, and uses allowed. Now live in 100 cities. Book a private demo and supercharge your real estate analysts. Deepblocks.com/demo.
Who are my clients? A lot of them are big real estate families here in South Florida and across the state and up into the Southeast. What are we doing with them? Well, I recently closed a transaction in Charlotte for a group out of New Zealand that I've never met that hasn't even left New Zealand. We did a big land loan for them up in Charlotte. You need a land loan? Call me. Need a bridge loan? Call me. Need a construction loan, a stretch construction loan? Call me. Debt or equity? Call me. I'm dealing with some of the biggest developers of multifamily, industrial, and office in the state. Why? Because when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freedom Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freedom Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Well, we're talking with Olivia Ramos about how the metaverse will help real estate investors make more money and create more affordable projects. Let's bring Olivia back on. Olivia, hey, Olivia is the founder of Deepblocks. She used to work for DARPA. Yeah, she's one of the smartest people I know. She looks at the future really, really cool ways, and we're partners on a lot of stuff, collaborators. Welcome back, Olivia. So we've been talking about the metaverse. We've been talking about how the Internet of Things, you're building this on me. You see, I take notes and then I notice what you're doing after I We started with the Internet of Things, then we did the blockchain thing. Now we did asset surveillance to some degree. Now we've talked about how it's key for acquisitions, refinance, and construction. We talked about how my niece is going to be able to use this when she goes and works for the big construction company in scheduling. She'll never have to leave her office. She'll be able to look at all the different things that are going on and the different nuances of the project she's working on. So Olivia, how does it all come together?
Yeah, I think, the last piece of the puzzle that I'm very excited about in terms of this conversation, because there's a lot of different kind of side conversations that we can have about the metaverse, and maybe we will, is city management and the ability for a city to visualize the future and test many different futures before making decisions on planning or on, different kind of regulations and incentives for, what seems like short-term things at the time. Maybe we can look at 50 years ahead and see how those decisions develop over time. And not only that, but I've seen you in some of those city hearings, and imagine if everyone can participate, right? Not just the people that have the time that can go there physically and be part of the conversation. Not everyone can now join, and you could have, all 500,000 members of the city of Miami listen to our commissioners and see what they're doing and have some kind of system. Oh, what?
Oh, I'd love to see that, but I know who wouldn't. The city commissioners. They love to operate in private.
Well, and that will then put some pressure on that and transform governance, because it will
Gosh,
have
I
to
hope
be more
so.
transparent.
I hope so. Listen, transparency, I don't do politics on the show, but in this particular instance, I will address it. Transparency and participation are key. Everybody needs to know what's going on. Everybody that wants to needs to be able to participate. And for us to be able to game out and model in virtual reality what our city could look like is incredibly important. And I'll even give an example of how we work together to do this. When I was running for city commission, I approached Deepblocks to ask them how many units could be built in my general neighborhood. We found out that there were about 100,000 that you could build with current land use, and that they'd only built like 35 or 40,000. Now maybe they're up to 50 or 60. You go try to drive in Edgewater now. You tell me what the issue in Edgewater is now. You tell me what Edgewater would look like with with another 30,000 units, and then you tell me what it would look like with another 100,000. And then we'll go make some decisions on how we can deal with it. I think that would be a tremendous application.
Yes, and you can take into account, when you do that study, what will happen with autonomous vehicles, and you can model that into it. What will happen with sustainable technology, and you can model that into it. And you can kind of, yes, you were going to say something.
Oh, you're so good. Yes, I was going to say you could model opening up 29th Street and seeing what that could do to traffic flow and the impact that that would have on integrating Wynwood and Alapata, let's say, and the rest of the community. The most important thing right now, well, actually, there's two things, and I'd love to model this. Oh my gosh, I love you. I would love to model two different things. There's two different ways that the city operates right now from a spatial relationship standpoint. There's the inter-neighborhood relationship, because now we're big enough where we've got real neighborhoods where you don't even have to live. The vertically integrated neighborhoods that I preached about having 10, 15 years ago are now here. The next one is intra-neighborhood transportation, which is okay off peak, but really bad on peak. We could modify all of that with this technology. Thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. We can take into account the future technologies that are going to impact transportation and see, and not just that, I think infrastructure as well. The cities will be able to have a look at our infrastructure, and if our infrastructure is getting depleted or exhausted or strained, then we can build in models for sustainable systems where buildings can start to collect water, can start to have solar components.
Keep going. You're talking about my dream.
Well, the beauty is the dream can be modeled, and if it can be modeled, there can be a realistic path towards it. And more than that, everyone could be part of this conversation through the metaverse, and everyone can agree or disagree. So that's super important. And if we have a few minutes, I think we should touch base on what kind of living situation will better fit people that are constantly working, and like your niece who's going to be looking at many sites but not leaving her home, right? There's going to be,
she works in Atlanta for an international construction company's Atlanta office, and they do massive government private projects, and she's looking at 5 or 6 of them through her internship this summer.
Right. So instead of 5 or 6 in the future, she'll be looking at 50. That's, she's going to be in charge. There's going to be a lot more efficiency, of course. But what does her home look like? There's going to be less furniture. There's going to be a need for less walls. There's going to be, we're going to need space. For example, you mentioned that you watch the Travel Channel to relax. I actually play in the Oculus, and I'll play different games, but I need a space in my house where I can move around, right? So the internal architecture or the interior design of places might change because you're now interfacing with the world differently.
Wow, I got so excited that my screen blanked because I touched it the wrong way. Another problem with today's 1 and 2 dimensional issues. I guess if it was the metaverse, I'd just go like this and it would have changed. So my house is going to look totally different, you're saying. That's what I was doing. I was switching it around to show I got all these screens and stuff in here. Got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 screens in front of me right now. 5.
Right. In the future, you'll have one pair of headsets and as least furniture as possible. So
because I'm going to walk around and do this all day?
Maybe, yeah. And then you'll have your kitchen and your bathrooms on the periphery of those spaces rather than chopping up the floor plan. You're going to want everything to come out of the walls so that you have as much internal open space as possible. Because you're going to be interacting with people, you might have people in your home as an AR meeting or VR meeting, and you don't want the things objecting your virtual view. So I think we need to think about as real estate developers, and also if you're mostly interacting within your home, is it so important to live in a specific city? And we're seeing a lot of transition from very expensive cities into less expensive cities, and those less expensive cities are now becoming very expensive. But I think in the future there'll be a lot more of that, and people will visit many places and make a decision on where they want to live based on, now they can save more, but the internal space will be more important than the external space at some point, maybe. What do you think about that?
I think that's fascinating. What you're really telling me is that the house is going to become some place where we're going to stage our lives. That open space will be the stage for our lives.
Yes. I mean, okay, so if you think about this, when the industrial...
empty now. My room is empty now, basically.
No, it's full of stuff. That's not going to work. It's not going to work.
What do you mean? I can get
You're
up?
You're not going to have screens. You're not going to have tables, maybe. Like your writing pad will be in the virtual space. You just be like, give me writing pad, and then.
That's tremendous. Olivia, we're running out of time, but we're not running out of ideas. What would you like to leave everybody with as your final thought on this issue?
Yes. So I think my final thought, and something that I think is important to get across, is the metaverse is not separate from the physical world, it is a layer of the physical world. And so we shouldn't think of it as an escape or something that will separate the two, but on the contrary, it's a new interface for the physical world that makes it more efficient to navigate the physical world and more efficient to build the physical world further. So I think there's a lot of stigmas around the metaverse that need to be removed in order to see the opportunities for a more efficient, sustainable, affordable future because of the opportunities that the metaverse can provide.
Wow. As always, you're blowing my mind. Thank you so much. I'm going to make sure that a lot of my friends see this directly by sending it to them. I want to thank Olivia, the founder of Deepblocks and my artificial intelligence expert and my favorite futurist, for being here on the show today. Mr. Mendoza, thank you for running all of the coffee stuff. I guess I'm going to have to go get a cup of coffee when we go to our next break. You just drove me into that, man. The beans, the smell. Oh, the smell. Oh, Olivia, I'm sure that they're going to be able to help me smell that coffee. Oh, you know what else is really a tremendous place for coffee? You're not going to believe it, but I think you will. Warren Henry. If you look on our Warren Henry ads, you'll see their coffee and espresso place. It's amazing. They have 2 different kinds of espresso machines, but I digress. Why do you really want to go to Warren Henry? Well, you really want to go to Warren Henry if you want to buy a Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, or Jaguar. They've got those up at 151st and Biscayne. You don't want an Audi? Well, they've got those up in Gainesville. Pretty much everything else, they sold that down in Key West. Why would you go to Warren Henry and get one of those cars? Well, besides being great cars, you'd become a Warren Henry family member, just like my wife and I. We just got another QX60. I really don't know at this point how many cars I've gotten from Warren Henry. Lots and lots. We've been their clients for over 30 years. Hey, what do I like about Warren Henry? Well, besides the fact that they treat us like gold all the time, even my mom, and that ain't no easy trick. They treat us like gold. Thank you, Maytel Stark, for that. I want to give a high five to Diego for helping us buy our car. And I want to remind everybody, Sergio helped too. And I want to remind everybody that if you get your car, you get a whole list of services. You get that they'll replace your key. If you lose your key, that's like $100. I always get my rims all scratched up. They buff them up for me, so they look really good. Best price guarantee. And oh, by the way, if you don't like your car after you buy it, you got 3 days to return it. Nobody returns them. They love those cars. So join me, my mom. I already mentioned my beautiful wife, Vivian. That's who got the brand new QX60. Lots and lots of my friends, and of course me, Jim Fried. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Can AI supercharge your real estate analysts? With Deepblocks, you can now canvas entire cities in minutes. Search by total buildable, potential units, and uses allowed. Now live in 100 cities. Book a private demo and supercharge your real estate analysts. Deepblocks.com/demo.
If you've been watching my social media feed, you'll see that I believe in kindness. You'll see that I believe in coming together as a community. You'll see by my fundraising for the education fund how important working with others is. Why is that important to you? I bring the exact same approach to business. When you call me, it's all about you is what I say, but I mean it and I do it. Reach out to me. Residential homes, big homes, little homes. I help a lot of my friends with their sophisticated mortgages that they need if they don't have 1099 income. Commercial real estate. I just did a $90 million condo inventory loan for one of the big deals in downtown Miami. I've got the ability to do all kinds of construction loans, development loans, bridge loans from $2 to $3 million up to $20 million in equity, even higher. That's a $100 million deal. In fact, I've got some special things I'm working on that we'll talk about next week. So why would you reach out to me? Why would you DM me? Why would you call me? It's simple. When you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Fried on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Fried or at Fried on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Fried1. Now, back to your host, Jim Fried.
All right, we're back, and we're back with somebody I'm proud to say is my friend and my mentor and one of my thought leader friends. It helps me stay within the guideposts. My friends say stay between the rails. Welcome back, Bruce Turkel, to the show.
Thank you, Jim. Happy to be here.
Hey, thanks for being here. You know, we've had a lot of transition here. 2020 was a year of great dynamism. 2021 will be a year of even bigger change. There'll be things that we can't even project that are going to happen. But Bruce, the thing I want to talk about this week with you is how people can kind of get a sense of stability in themselves and then maybe move forward with a new career, a new idea, a new focus, a new approach, which is sort of what you helped me do in 2020 when I shifted gears from commercial to residential. Now I'm sort of shifting gears back again. You know, it's not that easy. It's nuanced, projecting your brand. But thanks to you, I've been able to maintain a consistency in my brand, which is really all about helping people.
That's so important to what's going on right now, because if you look at all of the things happening, and this can be, of course, the pandemic, it can be the political situation, it can be the economy, it can be so many things. We don't have to get into the details of them, but we know that they affect us, regardless of our opinion, regardless of our experiences, they all affect us. And truth be told, we have very little control over what happens. I mean, yes, we can stay safe, we can remember to vote, we can support candidates, we can do all those things, but we still don't have that much control over what happens. But as Viktor Frankl said in Man's Search for Meaning, the one thing that we have control over is ourselves. Yes. We can determine who we are, what we want to accomplish, and maybe even more importantly, how we want to respond. Yeah. We can control our own actions. But the only way you can do that is if you actually know who you are, if you actually know what you want. Now, in the marketing world, when I ran an ad agency for 30 whatever years, that went without saying. You would ask the client, tell me about your product or your service. Who is it directed at? What is it going to accomplish? What are the good parts? What are the bad parts? The assets, the liabilities. We would do something called a SWOT analysis, SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And most companies knew these things. And if they didn't, they would bring in guys like me to figure it out for them. And then they would follow the plan. And by following the plan, they were able to deal with eventualities they hadn't expected, consumers changing their mind, a weather issue, whatever it was. But in our lives, we don't do that. It's bizarre. We just get up every day and we do our thing, and then we go to bed. And then somewhere along the line, we curse what we don't have, and maybe we appreciate what we do have. But we never stop to think about it. And one of the hardest questions to answer is if you just say to someone, hey, what do you want? 4 words. What do you want? And they can't answer it. I mean, they say things like, well, I want more money. Okay, who doesn't? But do you want more money monthly to pay your rent, or do you want enough money to buy an airplane? I mean, I want more money is a very wide comment. Or they'll say, I want to be happy. Okay, great. Who doesn't want to be happy? But what does that mean? Or so we never stop and figure this out. But if you do stop and figure it out, then when these vagrancies of life, when the tides, completely mix my metaphors, when the winds of life blow you in different directions, you know how to get back on course because you know what you're trying to accomplish. And if you say, what do I want? You think about it for a moment, you go, gosh, I really don't know. Then I got to say, for the new year, you got some work to do.
So listen, I had a new grandnephew that was born.
Oh, congratulations. Mazel tov.
I'm so happy. And what it did was it gave me an important moment. You know, they ask you, would you like to give the baby a blessing? So I did. And what did I wish for the baby? I wished that the baby would bring love and light to the world. Then I took a step back and said, but if that's what I'm wishing for the baby, then isn't that what I should be doing for myself? And then I said, but I am. And then I felt good.
You've actually been working on it quite hard, so you should feel good about it.
Yes, it's something I've been working very hard on, and it's really difficult because I'm in the real estate industry where everybody's always trying to get an angle on somebody. And so the angle that I really work hard to play is truthfulness and transparency, which are refreshing and is something that people in my industry are actually attracted to because it's so refreshing. And that allows me to continue on in a way that's consistent with my personal goals and objectives, which is helping people, because helping people makes me feel good.
And the important thing is to know that. Knowing, therefore, where that's going to lead you or what you're going to accomplish, that's nice, but that's secondary. The important thing is to know what it is that matters.
Well, what matters is completely different for every single person, but I would hope that we would all come together and hope that, and we've even seen in our community trials that we've been going through that a lot of people don't care about other people. And it's very difficult to have a society where a significant portion of people don't care about everybody. It's very difficult to live like that. Oscar Wilde said, I believe it was in Picture of Dorian Gray.
He wrote, "Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken." Boom! And it's a great piece of advice.
I got to tell you, it's very difficult to figure out who you are. And one of the things that I like to tell people is that your stomach knows who you are. If you're doing something that your stomach is not too happy about, odds are that's not you. And you need to get away from it. Sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we feel like it's impossible to escape from. And, a lot of that's been going on this year with the 2020 and the COVID and the limits and all this other stuff. But if people are creative and break out, they can really find some incredibly new and good things to do. I never once considered that I would be doing for a business residential real estate, but when I reviewed the time spent this last year, a majority of it was spent doing the residential real estate. And you go, well, Jim, who are you doing that for? When I review it, I'm doing it for people that are involved in my public sector life. I'm doing it for people that are real estate executives. I'm doing it for friends of friends that I never met. And I got to tell you, my favorite email came from a guy who always signs it, "Be in good spirits." You know what he does, right? He sells liquor. So he's in good spirits.
Let me add just a few things to what you said. The point of being in the real estate business, and then you're differentiating between residential or commercial, I would suggest that that's a fine point that really is not where the focus needs to be. That's simply what you do. What's more important is the question you asked earlier, which is most people don't know who they are. And you need to determine that. The function of what you do is secondary. I'll give you an example. If you came over my house, and in the garage, I have some classic cars, and I was, the garage door was open and the hood was open, and I was down inside, and you told me you were there, and I said, "Hey, Jim, do me a favor. Hand me a tool." What would you give me? There's a whole toolbox there with ratchets and wrenches and screwdrivers and whatever. And you'd say, "Well, what tool do you want?" "Oh, give me a wrench." "Okay. Do you want an open end wrench? Do you want a closed wrench? Do you want a ratcheting wrench? Do you want a spanner?" "Oh, give me a ratchet." "Okay. Do you want 3/8? Do you want 1/4? Do you want 2/16? Do you want metric? Do you want long extension?" On and on and on and on. You get the point. That the function is not what matters here. What matters is what I'm trying to achieve. Because if I'd say to you, "I'm trying to remove a 3/16" bolt that I can't reach," you would know, okay, I need a 3/16" socket. I need the extension so you can fit it past the muffler or whatever it is. But again, we don't do that. So what you, and I know this because I know you've done this before, what you talk about is helping people reach their dreams. When it was commercial, it was helping people build businesses that make sense, helping people make better deals so they could have greater income so they could take care of their families or take care of their businesses or pay their employees or whatever. When it was residential, you talked about finding the residence where someone could be themselves, where they could live their dream, where they had the kitchen because they love to cook, or they had the yard because, like my wife, they love to garden, or they had no yard because, like people I know, they didn't want to take care of it, whatever. But the function is secondary. What matters is knowing yourself. So again, you said that's the hard part. It's really not. It's not hard when we do it for businesses, products, or services. Why should it be hard for us? We just don't take the time. In the book that I've been writing, or actually I finished writing, that you know about, I interviewed 35 people who figured these things out. And I asked them, how did you figure it out? And they told me. And from that, I created a number of exercises that you go through, charts and graphs that you fill out. It's a lot of fun. And at the end, you kind of know who you are. You know what you want. And you then can create the roadmap to get where you want to be. Because you know that old saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Yeah, well, I think we should take a break right here. Let people consider where they want to go. We'll be right back after the break. And then we'll start going again down the path. My path, I know. My path is a path of helping folks be positive and achieve their goals. We'll talk about how I do that after the break. Reagan, rock it. South Florida's longest running business talk show. And the reason is because I have guests on like Bruce Turkel, who gives me things I put on stickies that I'm never going to take off my desk, like what he just told me to do when I screw up. Wow, Bruce, you're the man. You know who else is the man? Larry's in, along with his team at Warren Henry Automotive. I want to thank our friends at Warren Henry Automotive for being sponsors on the show since 2008. Thank you so much, Warren. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Abe. Thank you, everybody over there. Thank you, Eric. Remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. And that's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up on 151st and Biscayne. Down in the Keys, they sell all their name brands. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audi. What do they have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. That means complimentary service owner, dynamic wheel protection, key replacement, guaranteed purchase offer, best value guarantee, 72-hour exchange. But none of that matters as much as the fact that they make you a member of the Warren Henry family. It's the feeling you get. It's how wonderful you feel when you buy from them. So join me, my mom, and my beautiful wife, Vivian, and lots of my friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best service, always the best quality, always the best price, always Warren Henry. And I'm Jim Freed, and I sponsored this show. I approved this message. I always wanted to say that. Hey, give me a call if I can help. Residential or commercial, it's all about you. All those great things that we say on the show, well, they're all true. I'm helping folks get great rates on their mortgage. I'm helping them maximize their loan. All the things that everybody can do, and they feel great. So give me a call at 305-773-6300. Why? Because when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, we are on, and we are on with my good friend, Bruce Turkel, who's got his favorite shorts on. They have pockets for virtually everything. Welcome back to the show, Bruce Turkel.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, Bruce and I have really been talking about some of the secret pockets he has in his information world. We talked about his 7 secrets to marketing yourself and building your brand. Bruce, let's talk about your next book coming up. You've interviewed like 30-something people about it. Tell us a little bit about what you learned.
Sure. My next book is called Is That All There Is? And it's specifically about what people need to do to change their lives for the better. Everybody today is going through wondering, looking around, trying to figure out what's going on, what they're going to do next, how they're going to live. And so I thought, you know what, it makes a lot of sense to go out and talk to people who've already been through this. I actually started long before COVID hit, so I can't say I was prescient enough to know that this pandemic was going to affect us. But I started talking to people mostly in their 70s and 80s about how they had pivoted their lives. And that led to meeting a lot of other people who had done the same thing. And essentially, I found out what worked and what didn't work. And then I created some narrative and some exercises and things people can do to figure out how to get to where they want to be in life.
Wow. What is one step that somebody could take?
Well, the fascinating thing is that some of the people I interviewed would say, make sure you do this, whatever this is. And then other people would say, okay, never do this. And this was the exact same thing. But one thing that everybody said was get a mentor, get mentors. They use different words. Some people said a board of directors. Some people said friends and family you can talk to. But everybody said find mentors. Find people who have your best interest at heart, who you can trust, and go and ask them. Don't reinvent the wheel. You think your issues are completely yours and yours alone. We all think that everybody else is a fully formed human being, but we're the ones who are wondering and reaching and questioning. But it's not true. We're all like that. And so go find people who have been there. Again, it's nothing different than you would do in business. If I wanted to refinance my mortgage, I don't know how to do it. I'd call my buddy Jim Freed and say, hey, Jim, I have this issue because I have a balloon mortgage and it's due on this date and I have a tax problem and I blah, blah, blah. And he would say, well, that's easy, Bruce. What you need to do is fill out this form and apply for, right? He knows how to do it. I don't have any idea. In business, we get mentors. If you have a broken tooth, you don't try to super glue it back together. You go to a dentist. You find someone who knows how to do it. When your car won't start, unless you know a lot about cars, you might try jumping it, but after that doesn't work, you go to a mechanic. Why don't we do that in our lives? It's just ridiculous. And every person who was successful at accomplishing what they wanted to accomplish and at changing their lives said the exact same thing. Find mentors.
That's amazing. You know, there's, you know, I like to say I like to surround myself with experts, and then I don't have an ego so I can take their advice and implement it. I think that's one way to say that. It's very difficult at a certain point in your career to continue to find mentors. What I do is I really look to network people that are a little senior than I am and befriend them, and then I can ask them questions. And I like to also surround myself with people that are doing a lot of the same things I am so that I can understand what they're going through. But the most important thing is surrounding yourself with people that believe in you and that believe that you can get where you're going and that are invested in you doing that, and for you to have the same kind of relationships.
But if you don't mind, let me disagree with something you said. That you said
go ahead.
It's very difficult to find mentors. It's not. It's actually very easy to find mentors. You can't find mentors for everything because different people have different skill sets and talents. Again, when I chip my tooth, I'm not coming to you. When I need to refinance my mortgage, I'm not planning on asking my dentist. So we're perfectly happy to have specialists in our lives. So you can do the same with mentors. You decide what it is you need to understand. You go find someone who's been successful at that, and you say to them, you've been really successful at this. I'm having a problem with it. Can I buy you a cup of coffee and talk to you for a few minutes? I just want to hear I don't want anything. I don't expect anything. I just want to, sit at the feet of the master. Everybody loves being an expert. Everybody loves being complimented, and everybody loves to help as long as they realize it's sincere. Then, of course, you have to do all the right things. You have to follow up. You have to say thank you. You have to show them what happened, all that. But that's secondary. Finding mentors is not difficult if you're willing to admit, A, you have an issue, and B, you don't know how to deal with it, and C, someone else does.
Yeah, I have great mentors. I have you. I have Manny Johnson in cannabis. I have all kinds of great people. And by the way, I wanted to thank you because I threw that at you without asking you first. But I do want to thank you for giving me all of the advice and helping me stay between the rails. I guess I've said it like 15 different times here on the radio show.
Very nice of you.
Well, look, you're tremendous. I'm a high-powered person. I've got my own little ups and downs, lefts and rights. But, I really do appreciate you helping me find, coming in touch with what my personal goal is and what my personal brand is. Bring them on. I don't care.
It's someone telling me they're leaving. My wife is on call. She has to go see a patient.
Yeah, tell her we really appreciate her sacrifice and all the things that you do. I know that you're here because she has to be on call where you'd rather be in the Keys right now. So I want to thank, it's Gloria, right?
Yes.
I want to thank Gloria very, very much for all of her sacrifices. And I want to thank you for being there to support her while she's doing it. Because without you, she couldn't do it.
We only have a couple minutes left. So here's how you can thank me. Let me just let people know how they can get some help with this if they want. I've put together 2 strategic roundtables, groups of people who are committed to helping one another. They both come to a close in January, and we're starting new ones. If you are a company owner, an entrepreneur in the C-suite, I have a program called CE Only. It's very clever, I know, CEO Only, CE Only, and the website is ceonly.me. ceonly.me. Check it out. It's specifically set up for all the things we talked about: how to get clarity, how to get certainty, how to build mentors, how to have accountability partners. We haven't talked about that. All the exercises that I talked about. There's a curriculum of acceleration techniques. to show you how to move forward. ceonly.me. If you're not a business owner, if you're not a CEO, if you're not an entrepreneur, but you still want this type of technology and help, I have a second program, and it's called Together with Turkel. That's me, by the way. So Turkel. So it's togetherwithturkel.com. And it's a similar program. It's set up more for lifestyle than for business owners. It's different in a lot of ways. You decide who you are and what makes more sense for you. But check them out, please. Togetherwithturkel.com and ceonly.me.
That's great. Well done.
Thank you.
Prince of pivoting. You're the man.
That's what I'm working on, and I want to share it with everybody. I mean, I learned a lot from these people I spoke to. You know, you write 330 pages of a book, you better learn something.
No, 100%. And listen, you did learn it, and you do have things to teach people, because obviously I got that first book, read it, and implemented a lot of it. I'm looking forward to this as well. We do only have a couple more minutes left. I want to thank you so much for being on the show all year and in the years past and providing us with this great guidance and professionalism. Reagan, when we're done editing the show, I'd like to give Bruce his video that he just did just separately so he can send it out to different folks and put it on his website.
Of course.
Bruce, thank you so much for being here and giving your wisdom to all of our friends over these years. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And I want to just wrap up the show right here. I want to thank Warren Henry Automotive. Turkel, I want to thank you, sir. All of our sponsors. I want to thank you, our listener, our viewer. Without you, we wouldn't have a podcast or a show. Remember, go to our Facebook page, like our show, tell your friends, join our community, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. I couldn't believe we broadcast on Twitch. Thank you, Reagan, for that. If you missed today's show, it'll be up immediately at this point. This is Jim Freed for Freed on Business. Look for us next Wednesday at noon. And remember, the person who wants to do something finds a way, the other finds an excuse. Now go out there, make it happen. Everybody, thank you so much for a great 2020. Together, we're going to make 2021 tremendous. See you then.